So an LGBTQ activist was recently deplatformed at an LGBTQ event in India simply because they do not hate the BJP. And let's talk about today how the left has well and truly given up on the fight for free speech. My name is Sham Sharma. Welcome to the Sham Sharma Show. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Sham Sharma Show. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you. So something happened recently that really reinforced my faith in the fact that it is the left that has completely given up on the fight for free speech, and that it is now the non-left that do not agree with the left's extreme agenda that need to pick up the mantle for free speech. So the leftist LGBTQ activism talks about equality, talks about acceptance, talks about inclusion, diversity, that everybody's welcome, this is a safe space. But all of these words completely go out the window as soon as someone who doesn't exactly fit their mold speaks up. Now, we've seen this in the West already a bunch of times. We've seen the hatred against Jordan Peterson just because he said that he's not going to use the 72,000 pronouns that people want him to use. We've seen the same hatred against Joe Rogan, who by all accounts is pretty leftist on almost all issues. But even he was called a transphobe, he was called a bigot just because he said that somebody who was born a biological male should not be fighting women in MMA and beating the crap out of them. And he also said that 4-year-olds should not be given puberty blockers. Even Obama, who was considered this extremely LGBTQ friendly president, was abused at a White House dinner when somebody told him that he was deporting LGBTQ immigrants. A student group at Brown University launched a petition to pressure a trans activist, Janet Mock, into canceling her event just because she spoke at a school that had stood up and supported Israel's right to exist. So these people demonize people and abuse people who broadly agree with what the LGBTQ community is saying and just disagree with them on some small issues. It's so weird. It's like me talking to all my subscribers and saying, guys, I love every single one of you. I love you all. I love that all of you guys come and listen to my ugly mug talk to a microphone on a weekly basis. I really appreciate all of you guys. But if you ever disagree with me, I'll kill you. That's a really serious left turn. So now the Indian LGBTQ community is also copying their Western counterparts. So recently, Pride Circle, a diversity and inclusion consulting firm, disinvited a speaker named Gopi Shankar from one of their job expos called Rise. So why was he banned? He was banned because he said that he doesn't hate the BJP and that he thinks that the BJP is responsible for some positive changes in LGBTQ people's lives. So, in an event where diversity is celebrated, in an event where everybody wants to feel included, one person was disinvited simply because he slightly disagreed with his peers on the BJP and its contribution. In fact, a section of the organizing committee even said to Pride Circle that they would boycott the entire event if Gopi Shankar was allowed to speak. And so all of the social media posts that were talking about Gopi and that were advertising Gopi speaking at the event were deleted. Without any explanation, without any reason given to Gopi, his name was removed from the advisory board and all social media engagements. So what did they do when Gopi disagreed with them on an issue? Did they engage him? Did they debate him? Did they invite him and talk to him about it? They deplatformed him from the event without any explanation. And look, Gopi has a point as well when he's talking about the BJP and the RSS being friendlier to the LGBTQ community. Article 377, which has been the bane of the LGBTQ community's existence in India, was struck down during the BJP's term and from support from the BJP. And who supported it? The BJP supported it. The RSS supported it. Who opposed it? The church and the Muslim bodies. So the people that the LGBTQ community in India calls fascists supported it. And the people that the LGBTQ community in India keeps calling allies, They're the ones that were opposed to it. Also, BJP made Article 370 inoperable in Kashmir, which removed discrimination against the LGBTQ people in Kashmir. At the behest of BJP leader Sarbananda Sonowal, sex verification tests on female athletes have been outlawed. Last year, Mohan Bhagwat, who's the head of the RSS, made a speech saying all LGBTI people are integral part of society. Everyone is a part of society. How they are, they are. Accept people for what they are. Society has changed. It is important that society prepares itself so people do not feel isolated. Oh my God, how regressive and backward. So these people called the RSS Nazis. They compare them to Nazis all the time. Can you ever imagine white supremacists or Nazis talking about black people this way? Oh yeah, the black people are part of the society. We must accept the black people. We must love them. We must make them feel accepted. And we must ensure that they do not feel isolated. Yeah, we must make sure that they are loved. Heil Hitler. Can you ever imagine a Nazi ever saying that? And the LGBTQ movement, in every pride march, they abuse Hinduism, they abuse the BJP, they abuse the RSS, and at the same time, they align themselves with the kind of people and the kind of ideology that would destroy them if they ever came to power. LGBTQ community in India and in the West are generally silent about the Muslim world, where being gay is actually illegal and gays are routinely killed. And so they always talk about how Hinduism is fascism, but every time you criticize Islam, it's Islamophobia. Take the example of the recent Pride March in Delhi, where the Pride activists were chanting slogans in support of Sharjeel Imam, the CAA organizer, who talks about how great Sharia is and who talks about how he wants to cut Assam out of India. You can forget about LGBTQ rights if Sharjeel Imam's dream is ever realized, you absolute jackasses. Look at this graphic. A vast majority of countries where it's illegal to be gay are Islamic countries. There are horror stories from Islamic nations around India and Islamic communities within India about the persecution of the LGBTQ community. There are stories about how many LGBTQ people spend their entire lives in the closet and they never come out, and they can never live as themselves freely because they're afraid that if somebody finds out that they're gay, lesbian, that somebody from their family or somebody from their community will kill them. I mean, the LGBTQ groups were opposed to the removal of Article 370, even if it would mean the decriminalization of homosexuality in Kashmir. I mean, what the hell? So this LGBTQ community will deplatform a intersex activist for simply saying that he doesn't hate the BJP, while within their inclusion, within their free speech, people like Anish Gawande are included. Anish Gawande is another activist that was involved in the same Rise event from which Gopi was deplatformed. Anish is the founder of Pink List India, which is an organization that highlights members of parliament and politicians that are supportive to LGBTQ causes. Pink List India has extensively rallied against the Citizenship Amendment Act, which helps persecuted people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan escape an absolute, literal Islamic hell, and that allows them to come to India and live a life of dignity. Anish has also openly supported Sharjeel Imam and his Islamist agenda. Oh, and also he's completely opposed to the army. He doesn't even think that the army should exist. So anything positive that happens in the army cannot be considered positive because the army is horrible and it should not exist. He says, do not celebrate women being allowed to serve in the armed forces. Do not celebrate queers being allowed to serve in the armed forces. Do not celebrate the armed forces. So any progress in the army does not matter because the army is horrible and the army should not exist. Okay, the army should not exist. Then what is stopping Pakistan and Pakistan-sponsored terror and China to just take over? You? Are you going to go fight at the border? And once these terrorists take over, whose ass do you think they're going to execute first? Your ass. Look at what happened when ISIS took over. So such toxic people who hate the BJP, equated with fascism, who hate the army, think that the army should not exist even. They are accepted. They are welcomed within this LGBTQ circle. Their free speech is protected by the LGBTQ community. But one person who just says, well, I don't hate the BJP, that guy is immediately removed. That guy is immediately deplatformed. And such toxic people like Anish are supported by the head of Godrej Culture Lab, Parmesh Sahni. Godrej are also, by the way, one of the partners of the Rise event from which Gopi was deplatformed. And while Gopi has been deplatformed, there are other voices like Anish that have found a voice and that are welcomed and celebrated at this Rise event. Another one of these voices is Faraz Arif Ansari, who has often displayed blatant anti-Hindu stances and a hatred for the BJP. So look, I don't agree with what Anish and Faraz are saying. I don't agree with them at all. I don't even like them. But I still support their right to free speech. And I still don't think these guys should be deplatformed. Look, the thing is, free speech does not mean speech that only you like. Free speech means allowing speech and tolerating speech that you do not like as well. And that is how free speech should work in any country. I don't like what you say, but I will defend your right to say it, because in an open marketplace of ideas, good ideas will float to the top and bad ideas will get exposed and sink to the bottom. And you have to have some kind of faith in humanity that they will choose the right ideas. Look, as long as speech does not call for violence, as long as speech is not talking about physically hurting other people, it should 100% be allowed. And that is why I say that the liberal left has completely given up on the idea of free speech, because now they only support the speech that they like. And that is why it is up to the non-left, it is up to the people that do not agree with the left's radical ideas and agendas to take the mantle of free speech, to pick up the battle for free speech. And I want to ask you, do you agree or disagree with the deplatforming of Gopi from this LGBTQ event? And do you think that the left has truly given up on free speech? Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Again, guys, if you liked today's episode, make sure to leave a like, leave a thumbs up. It helps me out. It helps the channel out a great deal.